details. So, Michael Borky, what do you say we jump into the college football fix?
Yeah, and a really simple one. Mike Leach was given a contract extension today, as you guys know. Mississippi State law, not the law of Mississippi State University, but law in the state of Mississippi, prevents them from giving anything more than a 4-year contract. But Mike Leach has been extended 2 years all the way out to 4 years from now. He was actually given a 10% raise as well. So his $5 million a year contract was raised to 5.5. And I'm sure there's other stuff in the contract as well, but he's been given a 10% raise on top of that contract extension.
Very good. So $5.5 million, takes it through 2025. It's kind of the cost of doing business these days. It's expensive. It's lucrative also if you are a head football coach. And there are a lot of people who are like, yeah, a 10% raise, that'd be nice. What could you do with an extra $500,000? And I love the folks who are like, you're already making $5 million. What's an extra $500,000? Let me ask you, what about an extra $500,000? How do you feel about that?
10% is big, regardless of your income level.
It's good money. It's good money.
Regardless of your lot in life. Hey, Dad, any reaction to this? I mean, expected, I'm sure. No?
That might be a little bit of a stretch.
Okay.
A lot from what I'm reading on message boards and from what, I'm getting from people that text me and ask me questions. Look, confusion's not the right word because, getting an extension, not a big deal, right? It just doesn't matter. But when you find out that he got a raise, the next question is, did you raise the buyout? Because I think Leach is going to be good this year. I think the team's going to be okay. I think they're going to be an 8-win, probably maybe better than that team if things go right. But if they don't, well, then in year 4, you're on the hot seat. There's just no way around that. So I'm interested to know if the buyout went up any for him in that, because if it didn't, well then good on you. You can extend the guy. It looks good. It's a good vote of faith. Good for recruiting. But if it did, who were you competing with? I ask the same question every time one of these things come out. Who's trying to hire Mike Leach out from underneath you? So I would like to know the answer to that.
You asked that exact same question when Texas A&M and Ross York gave Jimbo Fisher a massive raise. Why? I mean, you can better explain it in the case of Mike Leach than you can in the case of Jimbo Fisher, because in the case of Mike Leach, the maximum contract length by state law, as Borky pointed out, is 4 years. You're like, 4 years.
And in terms of the raise,
cycle.
In terms of the raise, Richard, they did get better by 3 games last year. They were a much better football team his second year than in his first year. You can certainly justify a $500,000 a year raise.
It was almost like a cost of living inflationary raise.
Yeah, not at $5 million.
$500K. That just covers the gas. That just covers the gas to get the plane down to Key West nowadays.
Yeah, inflation's not affecting Mike Leach at all.
Probably not.
That's why our politicians don't care about it. But more on
cargo shorts remain very ineffective or very inexpensive.
In the morning.
You would assume that if the salary went up, the buyout went up, though. And if that's the case, it's a mistake.
You would assume that.
If that's the case, it's a mistake. Because while fans are generally optimistic about the direction, it hadn't been proven yet.
Right.
And he's already making $5 million a year. You gave him a raise. The extension I understand because it's used against you in recruiting if you have 2 years left on your contract. It's used against you.
Right.
If Ole Miss and State are going after the same in-state kid, I promise you somebody that represents Ole Miss was letting the kid know they have such little confidence in Mike Leach. He's got 2 years left on his deal. That's it. Yeah. So I understand that. But if you increase the buyout, why? That's the question. Why? What leverage did he have over you? I'm going to go take another job? Offered by who? And yes, again, fans optimistic about the direction, all that. You did go 7-5 last year. You got smoked in the bowl game and lost to Ole Miss again. Is an increased buyout earned? right now?
I think there's something here that we're not talking about. I think it tells you that John Cohen is committing to the long game with Mike Leach. That he knew when he hired Mike Leach that based on his track record, it gets better, but it takes a while. We've talked about his progression at Texas Tech. 7-6, 7-5, 9-5, 8-5, 8-4, 9-3, 8-5, 9-4. Then he gets to 11-2. It was pretty steady at Texas Tech. It was kind of an incremental increase. Washington State was different, though, right? It was 3-9, 6-7, 3-9, and then it popped 9-4, 8-5, 9-4, 11-2. And so I think John Cohen is saying with this extension and this modest raise that 4-7 in the first year, 3-game improvement in year 2, 7-6, schedule that should allow you to win 7 or 8 again this year, that it's a long play, not just a quick deal.
It's a good point, because there are fans that think that he should be on the hot seat this year, and this news today tells you that he is not.
And that's fine, but again, there was no need to increase the buyout, because buyouts are when you feel like your coach is about to leave. Mike Leach going nowhere.
We don't know that the buyout changed. There's a little bit of speculation.
Right.
Maybe my guess is the buyout is whatever's left on his contract.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to say, well, you only had 3 years left, so we'll increase you to 4 years, but we're still only going to do the buyout for the remaining 3 years. That's not going to fly.
Right.
The buyout is probably some percentage of his base salary that's remaining on his contract if they want to move on. But I think this is a signal that there's no plan to move on. And there shouldn't be. He's been there 2 years. And I know, hey, Dad, you're one to go, yeah, if you lose a third straight Egg Bowl, and I get that. But he's been there 2 years. And he's a guy that has
better from year 1 to year 2.
To win, and got better from year 1 to year 2.
Yeah. That's what, I mean, with me, you guys know me, right? I'm kind of a little bit of a pessimist. I don't know if you're aware of that or not, but I see this team and I'm just like, they brought back all this, and I guess we may not talk about it today, but the poll, the AL.com did, and State's predicted to finish last in that. And I just look at it like, if you took the logo off the helmet and said, this team was 4th in the West last year, and this is what they bring back, where do you think they'll finish? Everybody would just say, well, they're not going to beat Alabama, but 2nd. But that's not the case for Mississippi State. And they had a chance to build up some credit in the last 2 games, but they lose the Egg Bowl and they get manhandled in the bowl game. I think the narrative of this team is a lot different. I've said that a few times. If they had won one of those games, if they had finished the year 8-5, I think there would be a lot of positive momentum for the Mississippi State football program. But losing those 2 games has everybody thinking, well, Mike Leach, you just can't trust him. Sometimes he's going to lose games he shouldn't lose, and that's where you are.
Let me ask you this. Mike Leach is 61 years old. How long do you think he does this?
That's such a tough question because he is such a guy of other interests and stuff. But at the same time, I know that he enjoys coaching football. So I think he'll do it for as long as it makes him happy. I could see him going another 6-7 years and then sort of seeing what happens after that.
My prediction is that Mississippi State is the final coaching stop for Mike Leach. Whether it's 4 more years or 6 or 7 more years in Starkville or 3 more years or 2 more years, wherever it is, this is the final stop along the way for Mike Leach.